welcome to the Paranormal Portal. It's Friday night as we are broadcasting on YouTube as well as TFR Live, which is broadcasting on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live as well. So we've got a full boat of fun here on the portal. Hope you guys are doing great. Thank you so much for spending part of your weekend right here with me on the portal. I appreciate that a bunch. As always, it's a rare pleasure to be here doing the shows with you. And I've just been kind of racing the clock here to get all set up because we got a lot to get through tonight. We are going to be doing a little bit more investigating on the ghost radar. Oh my God. What are we doing here, huh? Let's turn that on. Paranormal detector. So, we've got a lot to get to, as always. Sheldon will be joining us. He's not quite there yet. He's going to message when he's available. And don't forget, tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, right here on the portal, we're going to be welcoming our Paranormal Portal psychic, Mrs. Deborah Varner, to the show. And she's going to be doing free readings to callers of the show. So we do those every few months just as, it's a wonderful opportunity for all of y'all to maybe get a reading if you never had one, or to, it's just a thank you to all you guys who are here all the time. I realize that, maybe reading shows aren't as fascinating for everybody, but for those of you that take part in them, I know I get so much responses back from all of you who get readings from Deb, and it's like, oh my God, thank you so much. That was great. Deb was amazing. And she's just incredible, but she'll be here tomorrow night on the Paranormal Portal. So if you're interested in taking part in that, you're going to call in tomorrow night during the show and hold the line. Hold the line because, we'll get to all the calls. We'll even probably do some overtime just to clear the queue. So if you do call in, don't fret. You do have an opportunity to get a reading. We'll get to you eventually. Sometimes people are on hold for an hour or better. And I apologize, but a reading takes as long as it takes. So just be patient. If you're calling from abroad and you want to get in quick, then call in like even before the show starts and just hold, because then you'll be on the top of the queue when we do actually start the show. So those are options for you guys as well. I guess without further ado, we can get to the news. And again, we'll be watching for Sheldon to show up. I hope I'm ready. God, I've been just working so hard on stuff lately. I've been working on some video stuff. Specifically, I'm working on footage from the investigation at the Davenport Hotel that I did with my good friend Charles Howard Johnson. And even watching that footage, I'm like, my God, we caught so much stuff, had such terrific responses and experiences there. And none of it was dark. None of it was horrible. It was just amazing. It was like touching the other side and having a dialogue, and it was just incredible. And I'm so excited to unveil that to you guys. Again, I will be releasing those as soon as they're available, as soon as they're done. And I'm working on 2 separate videos currently, one from earlier and then the Davenport Hotel one. And those will be released to members of our YouTube channel first. They will get probably about a week to watch them and to view them if they should so choose. And then I'll open up to everybody. So please don't feel like, it's exclusive content. I can't get to it and I can't afford it. Well, just be patient. We've had these memberships on YouTube for quite a long time now, and they really do help a ton just to help carry the bottom line of all of this and help to keep things moving and growing. And so I haven't really given our members much of anything other than little emojis and a green name. And this is another opportunity to give our members something a little special, just a thank you. So they're going to get exclusive views of these videos as they become available for, several days. I'm not sure exactly the time period, but if you can't be a member, and I understand not everybody can, please don't feel slighted. Don't feel stressed about that. I will open it up for free to everybody eventually. Just please be patient and understand. So, But yeah, if you're able to be a member, that's great. Thank you so much. And special thank you to all of our YouTube members. And for those of you that send super chats and all of that, it really does go a long way to keep the vision growing and moving. And got some other investigations going to be coming this summer. And so those things will be wonderful additions to our repertoire. I really want to move the direction of the show into equal studio shows and on location videos of investigations and stuff. I really love doing that. And so I know there's a ton of them out there, and it's not my desire to compete with everyone else, but just to do it my own way. I watch a lot of other shows that do it. Some of them to me really strain credibility. Others just seem like they're theatrical, and I just want to do a real down to earth, let's talk, see if we can connect with people that were once here or other things, I'm not trying to poke the bear here or get involved in all kinds of horrible, dark stuff, just to make connections and to maybe help some of these spirits if they're earthbound. So, that's the direction of it. Keep watching. But that sounds really cool. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. I hope it is. I mean, it's one thing to have a vision. It's another thing to actually execute that vision. So that's what I'm working on, is the execution part of it. But I've got all kinds of thoughts about it. But anyway, without further ado, I guess we can get to the news and find out. I've only got a few articles pulled up for you guys tonight because I think that, the news is wonderful, but it shouldn't be the primary part of the show. So with that in mind, let's get to the Paranormal Portal news. The news. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas, and we are going to be diving into a few news stories. Just a few. Literally, I think 3. Which is, I think, the definition of a few. But it could be more than 3. I don't know. But I'm counting 3. I pulled up 3 articles to go over tonight here on the Portal Newscast, so we're going to discuss these right now. So first up, ladies and gentlemen, we have an article from unexplained-mysteries.com. This is kind of with the advent of technology, oftentimes we throw ourselves with reckless abandon into these technologies and allow them to be part of our lives. And sometimes maybe blindly or stupidly, and that may be the case here. But you be the judge. This article's coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. Please support this site, folks. They're doing great things over there, and I absolutely adore unexplained-mysteries.com. All right, tourists following GPS directions drive straight into harbor. Yep, you might want to look at that woman. It's like, wait a minute. What? Yeah, if GPS isn't being updated correctly, this could be a real issue. The bizarre mishap occurred when the driver blindly followed GPS directions down a boat ramp and into the water. Like, really? Are you not even paying attention? It's not unusual for a car satellite navigation system to offer questionable directions, but some degree of common sense should always be applied when deciding whether or not to actually follow them. Bingo. Common sense, however, seemed to be missing entirely from this particular scenario, which saw 2 tourists drive straight down a boat ramp and into a harbor in Kailua Kona, Hawaii recently. They drove right into a boat harbor in Hawaii. Guess the water is probably warm. A video of the incident shows the hapless duo being rescued by a sailboat crew. I was just sitting there trying to seek shelter from the rain, and then the next thing I saw, a car drive directly past our boat straight into the harbor at a pretty decent speed, said local Christy Hutchinson, who captured the footage. It was so confidently done, they didn't have a look of panic on their face. They were still smiling. Oh dear, we drove into the water. It turned out the tourists, who happened to be sisters, had been following their GPS to the location of a snorkel tours company when it had instructed them to drive into the ocean. For reasons only known only to them, they happily obeyed and plunged the car into the water. I guess they were just going to get started on that snorkeling a little earlier, or they were on the budget plan. You know, if you don't want to pay the fee, you could probably just go into the water. There you go. This is from the Sun itself, and we'll just check out the video here. There they go.
What is going on?
What is going on?
Pretty sure that wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, I don't think that was supposed to happen at all. Good God. It's floating.
There's a line in the front of the boat.
It's time for a swim, ladies. I can't believe that they're just sitting there watching this happen. They're just like, huh, this is unusual. It's like, how about reverse? Start there, try to get it to back up. I mean, it's floating. I gotta, whatever make and model that car is, it's pretty buoyant, which is actually kind of surprising. Maybe that was the upgrade. 4 minutes this video is. Oh my God. There you go. Time for a swim. It's still floating though. I mean, that thing's nearly seaworthy. I don't know what that is. It's some kind of minivan, but God, that's pretty watertight. Yeah. There goes someone else. Yeah, folks, you might want to pay attention to where the GPS is telling you to go. It's not like it was a dark and stormy night and they just couldn't see. It's daylight. It is raining, but it's daylight. There's not a lot of excuse for that. So there you go, folks. That is our modern conveniences at work. Now, I generally, I use GPS all the time, especially when I'm driving to locations and stuff. It's just, I've never been there before, and the GPS has always done me right. So I've never had something like this happen, but I'll guarantee you if I was going down a boat ramp, I'd probably stop and let it recalculate a little bit. That's just colossally obtuse. I don't know, man. You think you'd seen it all, and then you see something new. That should be a t-shirt. Or you think you've seen it all, and then you log on the internet. Well, anyway, we got another story coming up from unexplained-mysteries.com, and this one has to do with a UFO. And apparently this is some compelling, the best UFO footage ever is believed to be owned by a YouTuber. It says, unexplained-mysteries.com brings us YouTuber allegedly owns copy of most convincing UFO video ever. Wow. I wish they would release it, but that's incredible. It says Logan Paul, seriously. I mean, I don't know Logan Paul or anything, but as soon as I see the Paul name, it's just like, Logan and Jake, the brother, who's been boxing everybody he can, and recently lost to Tommy Fury, but he's done pretty well actually in the ring, surprisingly. But they're kind of clout hounds. I'm sure, but I don't know. Logan Paul could have just been really took by something here too. But Logan Paul reportedly made a surreptitious recording of footage obtained by UFO expert Chuck Clark 30 years ago. How old is Logan Paul? Is he 30 years? Speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast recently, James Fox, director of the 2020 UFO documentary The Phenomena, claimed the prolific YouTuber Logan Paul had acquired an illicit copy of what has been described as the world's most convincing UFO video. The footage had been in the possession of UFO expert Chuck Clark and had originally been recorded by two men out in the Nevada desert several decades ago. Paul was so intrigued that he actually approached Clark with $100,000 in the hope of purchasing it, but when the offer was turned down, he used a hidden camera to record a copy of the footage after convincing Clark to play it back for him. What a snaky bastard, though, really. I mean, it's not his. And so he steals it? I mean, seriously? He has since been reluctant to release it to the public, however, over fears that he could face legal issues with the United States government. So while we don't have the video itself, we do have a description of it courtesy of Fox, who claimed to have witnessed the playback himself several years ago. According to his recollection of it, the original footage was filmed from inside a car and shows the two men freaking out about an object that appears overhead. One of them goes, "It's over the top of us. It's over the top of us," Fox recalled. And then all of a sudden, the car lights up on the inside, but the source of the light is above it. One of the men got out of the car to observe the object, which is so low you could have hit it with a rock. If you can imagine the skin on the craft glowing like phosphorus on a beach, he said, that's what it looked like the skin was alive, and it had a yellowy orange color to it, but you could clearly see it was a disc. I'd never seen anything like it, and it just wobbled like it was unstable. Exactly who the two men were, however, remains unclear. Well, there you go, but what a douchebag for doing that. I mean, it wasn't his. He offered to buy it. The guy said, no, okay, walk away. Have just a little bit of integrity, for God's sakes. You don't just go, oh, can I watch it? Let me adjust my tie. What a dick. God, that's horrible. But that's kind of the mentality. When I think of Logan Paul, that's kind of what I think of. And in his defense, I don't know the guy. He could be wonderful. I don't know. But that's a really douchey move. That's horribly well executed, or horribly terribly executed. I was going to say horribly well executed. I mean, granted, that I think the video should see the light of day if it's genuine and valid. But at the same time, if you don't own the footage, don't take it. Don't make a copy for yourself if you weren't given express permission to do that. So, I mean, he should have the hell suit out of him. If the guy's no longer alive, then by the estate or whatever. I mean, that's just not right. That is just not right. So, again, not a huge fan of the Pauls. Don't have anything personally against them, but man, they seem to just do anything they can to stay relevant. And they're doing fine with it. I mean, they're extraordinarily successful, but I mean, that's the kind of stuff you just don't do. There should be at least a little bit of integrity in your game, not just, oh, guys, I pulled a fast one. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I think that's horrible. Do you agree? If you agree, put it in the comments. If you disagree, never mind. Only agree with me in the comments. No, I'm just kidding. You can have whatever opinion you choose, but that's horrible. I don't like that at all. All right, one last article here on the news, ladies and gentlemen, as we push into, it says 20 minutes after already. My God. All right, here we go. This one is absolutely disturbing. I think, I don't really know that I understand it. I've only read the headline. I've not read the article, so we'll read it together. But from unexplained-mysteries.com comes comatose patients internally awakened as they died, study finds. Ooh, like, hey, wake up, you're dying. Now it's over. Like they just get to be conscious enough to die. That's horrible. I don't know how long this is. No, it's pretty short. It says researchers found signs of conscious-like brain activity in patients who passed away while in a coma. Seeing events flashing before your eyes, observing a bright light at the end of the tunnel, or feeling as though you're floating above your own body are just some of the things commonly described by patients who've had a near-death experience. But, what exactly is the experience of someone who dies while in a comatose state? Oh, man, I'm sorry. In a recent study, researchers analyzed EEG brain scans recorded during the final moments of 4 patients who were comatose and unresponsive after suffering from suspected seizures. Their findings were surprising. 2 of the patients exhibited an increase in their heart rate, followed by a surge in brain activity associated with consciousness. Sorry. According to study leader Gimo, I don't even know how to say that, of the University of Michigan, this could indicate that the patients had been internally awakened at that time. How vivid experience can emerge from dysfunctional brain during the process of dying is a neuroscientific paradox. We saw potential of neurosignatures of consciousness, and it may be activating internal covert consciousness, bringing out memories of the past, or it could be a brain survival mechanism. We don't know. Or it could be the state of the consciousness leaving the body. If indeed people are trapped in their bodies, as some have suggested, in comatose patients, then maybe that's the moment where their consciousness is breaking out of that stasis or whatever in order to transition. And I don't know. I mean, I'm just guessing, of course, but it's anybody's guess. But looks like we might have Mr. Sheldon Thomas with us. Are you there, Sheldon?
I am here.
You are here. You're quiet, though.
Uh-oh.
You're a bit quiet.
Okay. Technical difficulties per the normal of Paranormal Portal. I'm just keeping everything the way it should be. Right?
Well, good. That's the way it should be. We certainly have our share of fun and adventure here on the show, but let me pull you up. There you are. Glad to have you here.
Absolutely. Skype got rid of my background, so I'm just going to use this one temporarily.
Well, it looks lovely. It looks kind of serene and peaceful.
Exactly.
Or desolate and sad. I'm not sure which.
Well, yeah, there's the perspective right there, yeah.
Could be any of the above, but yeah, it's good to have you here. Thanks for coming on, and I know you've been running against the wire to get here, but I'm glad you did.
I made it.
Well, you made it just for the end of the news, because
oh no.
Well, it was okay. We just covered a story about comatose patients who apparently become consciously active in their brains just before they die. It's like, wow. Hey, wake up! Oh, never mind.
That's actually something that's terrifying. As far as like, if we experience everything in a coma, that's actually something that I've read once that doctors are actually curious of. Is like during it's like surgeries and whatnot, when you're under anesthesia and you're unconscious, are you experiencing everything from inside your brain?
I don't know.
Or are you actually unconscious and you forget about it once you wake up, type of thing?
Having experienced many of my own surgeries and being, I mean, I get knocked out. It's like, I'm not one of those people that want to watch them dig. It's like, no, just put me out, wake me when it's done. I've woken directly up out of anesthesia, sat up in pain, but I had no recollection of anything. You know, it wasn't like it was just gone. It was like, I don't know. 1 minute I was feeling this burn go through my veins as the anesthesia went in, and the next time I'm waking up in pain. It's like, oh God. So,
okay.
Having been there, no, I mean, there's no, unless there's something subconscious or whatever, maybe there's some portion of our psyche that remains active and aware, and but nothing on the conscious level. So, which is good. But this is kind
it
of
appears the ghost radar is not working.
Oh yeah, I didn't actually start it. I did load it. Did somebody say something?
Rachel did. Yep.
Rachel, you're always
Rachel's got her back.
Got it right. All right, it's May 5th. Revenge of the 5th.
That's right. Revenge of the 5th.
Yeah. All right, now it's active. Okay, and the ball is back here too, as is the K2 is on, although my head's blocking it usually, but I'll try to sit over a little bit. But anyway, that's going to wrap up the news, folks. So let's get back to the rest of the show. We're going to do the Discord question of the week. We're going to do some investigating tonight, and then we'll round it off with a story or two from the Cryptid Corner. And by God, that should be a show. So,
lovely.
What?
Lovely.
Lovely. All right, let's get back to the rest of the show. and gentlemen, we are back at the rest of the show part of the Paranormal Portal because the news is over. I hope you guys don't mind the more abbreviated news. It just gets kind of long. And while it's a fun part of the show, it shouldn't be the whole show. It was never meant to be half the show, and sometimes it went into about half. So I'm chopping it off a little bit early, about the half-hour mark. Appears as though the ghost radar is not working. You are right. A lot of other folks in chat saw it first. Okay, well, thank you guys. Thanks for having my back. I'm just reading, so I couldn't watch the chat. But I got it up now. I'm looking at it. And let's see. I guess we should go to the next part of the show, Sheldon. Oh, by the way, Sheldon, did you know that we now have a permanent URL on our Discord?
What?
We do. It's true. It
How did
is.
that happen?
Well, we have some amazing members of our Discord, Caleb specifically, who decided to boost the server. Yep.
Oh my God, Caleb!
Yep.
Thank you.
So it is now Discord HTTPS discord.gg/paranormal portal.
We have a GG.
We have a GG. It's consistently ours now. No more of the recyclable or the expirable tags. We have our own Discord link. And so that brings up the next part of the show, which is Discord question of the week. I just got a memory dealing with getting back to that comatose patients waking up. It was like,
Oh no,
Bill
what
Murray's character on Caddyshack, and I don't know if you know this movie or not, but he's like, yeah, I met the Dalai Lama once, and he looked at me and he said, Unga Galunga. Unga Galunga. And what that means is, on your deathbed, you will receive total consciousness. He says, so I got that going for me. That's such a classic line because it's like that. It's like a curse. It's like you're going to be totally conscious on your deathbed. You're going to experience every bit of it.
Oh, that's
Oh my God, I got to watch that movie again. That was so funny. You ever seen that movie, Caddyshack?
doesn't sound familiar.
Oh no, Sheldon, you've got to see it. It is one of the premier classics in all of cinema. It truly is. It was so well done, and it's just amazing. Wouldn't you all agree? Caddyshack, come on. It is just such a part of it. Mom's messaging. Hi, Mom. Good to see you out there. Thank you for the message. Yeah.
Hi, Nina.
I just so glad our chat was on the ball. Like, hey, this is on.
Well, I'm going to put that in the movie section just so I remember.
Caddyshack. Yep. That's great. Anybody saying, oh no, Brent, what have you done?
Why? What's wrong with what's wrong with Caddyshack?
Unga Galunga. Bill Murray's character in that thing is just hilarious.
This message in Discord is for my reminder and for everyone else who wants to watch it, I guess.
Yep, absolutely. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to the Discord question of the week because, well, that's what time it is. It's time for the Discord question of the week. And so, as such, I don't know how many responses we got, but again, let me just pin the Discord link. If any of you are not currently involved in our Discord server, we have one. And thanks to K-Love, we have, what do you call it? A static URL. Yeah. Oh,
so nice. Oh, Caleb, thank you so much. It's so lovely.
I'm going to pin your message. There we go. It's pinned to the top of the chat. So if you want to join the Discord, please click that link if you're a Discord user, and you'll be invited to join us over there. So the question of the week segment is a part of our Discord server before every live show, unless we have a specially scheduled guest or something like tomorrow. Deb will be on, so there won't be a question of the week for tomorrow night's show. But this is an opportunity to ask you guys questions about some paranormal or Fortean topic, just to hear what you have to say. So these have been amazing to me because I I always considered that we're all, our regulars, our general audience. Love you too, K-Love. Thank you so much. Our general audience is really very kindred spirits is the best way I can put it. It's like we're we're a collection of individuals that have these same passions, and for the most part. I mean, we all have different ways of looking at these phenomena, and that's what's cool about it. Like, it's not just, oh, this is what it is because that's what we believe here. No, we believe that everybody's opinion of this stuff is valid, and that's why I love this question of the week segment, is because it gives you guys a chance to bring your ideas to the table. So, and I really do appreciate all of your input, because you guys have put thoughts into my head that I may never have gotten to on my own. Some ideas, some reflections that it's like, wow, that's really cool. So thank you so much for that. And quite honestly, maybe it was a little bit selfish of me to do the question of the week thing, because my passion, the reason that I do the Paranormal Portal, is because I've had a lot of experiences and I really want to understand this phenomena as much as it's possible to. And I don't ever think we're ever going to have the answers like, well, this is what it is, the end. But I think we can have understandings and theories about it. And so that's what you guys have brought to the table, and you've helped me to think through a lot of this stuff. So, and you'll continue to. Now, we got a question of the week for tonight, and Sheldon, are you ready to read it? Sheldon? Oh dear, it looks like we've lost our Sheldon bot. Where did he go? Let's see what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Let me just take a peek here, find out what's going on. Because Sheldon is not here. Oh, what the hell? Did Skype crash? Skype crashed. My God, folks. That is just insanity. This is the second time ever in the history of the show Skype has crashed on me. Let me join my call. I'm joining now. Okay. Are you here again, Sheldon?
There we go. Now you're in.
Yeah, my Skype crashed.
Oh, that's what happened. Okay.
It's only the second time in the history of this show that my Skype has crashed. And it's both times. Oh, then there's a spirit right behind me on the ghost radar. So I'm telling
everyone.
you. And then it says everyone. Wow. We gotta get investigating pretty quick here. Skype crashed. The ghost radar picks up a figure behind me. Just need that little ball to flash, and this is a full boat. That's really cool. Wow. And it said everyone. Hello, everyone, from our visiting spirit, whoever that was, making an appearance. That's pretty intense, guys. I actually got chills. That's cool. That's what I love about this stuff. I love doing this. God. Ooh, it just gets my blood pumping. Everyone. So if there is a spirit present or hanging out with us tonight, if you could move this little ball that I'm pointing to, and I'm going to tap it. It'll flash like that, and it'll let us know that you're here. So I would appreciate if you could do that after it stops flashing, just to let us know you're here, because my God, we're trying to connect with you, trying to make contact. So, Sheldon, is your camera on? Yeah, your camera's going. Good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Can you make your volume go up again? It went quiet again.
Yes.
I don't know.
Better?
Is your firewall down, by the way?
Yeah, it's not up.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, so I'm just kind of flipped out about that. That's wild.
That was cool.
The call board actually disconnected too. Let me reconnect that. But can you read some of these responses, please?
Yes. So today's question of the week is Friday show. For ages, people have claimed or suggested that Bigfoot and Dogmen have a very adversarial relationship.
Adversarial.
What? Oh my God, what did I say? Okay, adversarial relationship. Others suggest that perhaps the Bigfoot is a handler of Dogman and is somehow dominant to them. Others still have suggested that if Dogman is in an area, the Bigfoot will clear out. While nobody can know for sure, what do you believe about the relationship between Bigfoot and Dogman? Now, first responder is just here and there, 66, saying, I believe that there are the original Dogman and then there are the mutations. The original ones will work with or avoid the Bigfoot depending on what types they encounter. The mutations will attack en masse for no other reason than to kill the Bigfoot. These are the ones I believe like to prey on humans. So depending on the situation, the relationship between them could be harmonic or really bloody. Very interesting. Next up, we have Chucky Danger saying, I think that it's an apex predator. Both fill the same role in the food chain. The competition for the same food must put them at odds with each other. I think if it came down to a scrap, that Squatch would dominate that fight. Who knows, though? Maybe Squatch is afraid of Dogman as we are. Sasquatch aren't big fans of our pet dogs. What would change with a 200-pound plus upright walking canine that thrives off fear? That's actually not a bad point. No kidding.
Yeah, generally speaking, when people see a big dog man, they think they're about, the 400 to 500 pound range, for the 7-8 foot tall ones. And that's probably about right. I think actually Vic Cundiff, I think, brought up a good point about how inaccurate weight estimates are from witnesses because, well, they think that, there's a 6'5" guy that's about 350 pounds. This thing was bigger, must have been 400 pounds when it's actually like 600 or 800 by, math. It has to do with mathematics and densities and stuff. And you'll have to refer to the episode with Vic. He explains it really well. Vic Cundiff, of course, of Dogman Encounters.
Well, that's true. Like muscle density would have a factor in that too.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Bone densities, muscle densities, different kinds of muscle, not our type of muscle, but I think we have fast twitch or something. I don't know what the hell we have. Anyway, there's different types of muscle tissues and these animals pound for pound, even like, chimpanzees, their muscles are so much more dense and so much more strong that a chimpanzee being about 3 or 4 feet tall could rip off your arms and beat you to death with it. Literally, like not just figuratively, like they're that much stronger than us. Even a weightlifter couldn't compete, So.
Okay. Well, how much do silverback gorillas weigh?
God, they're like 600 or 800 pounds. Yeah. And they're 6 feet,
So Bigfoot's got to be more than that, right?
Well, yeah, there's like, 1,000 pounds, 1,200 pounds estimates. So, I mean, this is a lot of being.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, there's no accurate estimates for how strong a gorilla is. We just can't calculate it accurately. They can, do it to a degree by making pulling tests and stuff like that. But it really, I mean, when you see that gorilla in that compound in a zoo and some kid is just standing there beating his chest and the gorilla's kind of wandering around and then just charges the glass and throws its body. I mean, this is like 4-inch glass or 3-inch glass, safety glass, and it cracks that entire pane. I mean, that's like akin to driving a car into it. I mean, literally. That's some huge glass, and that thing, thank God it didn't shatter that glass, but I mean, it did crack that pane because that would have been lethal shards exploding out of that thing if it blew. But,
oh, yeah. But
that's an idea, and that's just throwing its mass around, but that's how strong it is that it's able to launch that 400 to 600 pounds of muscle in the air like a cannonball, and hammer that glass with its fist at the same time, like boom. So
isn't that kind of the hard part about trying to test their strength, is that for them to want to test their strength the way we want them to, it would have to be like a life or death, like giving it everything they got.
Yes.
And it's hard for them to put them in that scenario.
When I was a kid, I read a book, just speaking of muscle densities, that said a gorilla, it was theorized back then, and that's a long time ago, but that back then that an adult gorilla is believed to be to have the strength of 8 Olympic weightlifters, and Olympic weightlifters are lifting like, I don't know, over 1,000 pounds and stuff. I mean, these guys are just monsters. And so, it's just, I mean, it's literally like Superman kind of strength. It's crazy. Yeah. And so how much stronger is something that's 8-10 feet tall than this 6 foot thing? But anyway, I'll let you continue. Sorry. I find that fascinating.
It is fascinating. Absolutely. But next up is K-Love saying, I have no clue. Maybe the dogman follows the smell of the Sasquatch for hunting territory. I've heard that some say that they are not friendly towards each other and keep their distance. It's about what I've heard too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've heard. I guess I'll say it at the end after you get through all the responses. What I've heard about it.
As long as you remember. But next up, Rachel 101 saying, I don't think Bigfoot and Dogman necessarily have an adversarial relationship, nor are dominant over Dogman. Like Chucky says, I think Bigfoot would dominate the fight. They're both apex predators. Seemingly, some or all of them have the abilities that border on the supernatural. If it's individuals who have these abilities, that could put them, Bigfoot and Dogman, as shamans in their tribe/pack. With special abilities come responsibility. That's I like that saying. That would mean above average intelligence as well. With that, both cryptids would know the consequences of battle, as it seems neither of them travel alone, mostly. That would also result in a territorial war. There's also outliers in any group, individual personalities who would be rogues and behave in aggressive ways towards either Dogman or Bigfoot. Encounters or distant witnessing of violent incidents or benign incidents witnessed by humans should be statistically examined to see on which side of the scale these events occur, benign or violent. And that's an interesting point too, that there are layers of these conflicts if they do indeed happen as well.
Sure. It is interesting. I see Android's typing, so he's
We'll get to you, Android. Don't worry.
He's getting his homework in. My dog ate it. I got to retype it. It's okay, Android. But it is interesting that I've heard there seems to be a cooperation between the two. I've heard that they are incredibly territorial to each other, where if they are in the same region, they have very established boundaries and they're never crossed. Because if they are, it's an act of war. I think that generally speaking, and this is true of animals, they don't mindlessly engage in attacking or creating conflict, but it's always ruled by need. Sometimes it's territorial, like, hey, the other crew of animals has a better range than ours. We need to overtake them and take it over. And like in chimpanzees, they do attack each other's territories and stuff. But I guess with chimpanzees, sometimes it's almost diabolical, though. I mean, they really do have like a real dark side to them. Like they do. They will go to war and the attacks are absolutely clinical. Like they are organized. But I'm speaking of like lions and stuff. They just have established territories. If something comes in on that territory, that's like attacking their livelihood. If something moves in, another lion, pride or whatever, they would try to defend it because that's how they're living. The one thing about wild animals and things subsisting naturally is that they have to protect their resources because that really is how they're surviving. Otherwise, their family line will die off. And so, but I don't think that generally speaking, most animals don't engage just to engage. Like there's always a severe motivating factor, like habitat, like the watering hole or the herds in this area are so much more dense and plentiful than in another area. So I think, generally speaking, things in nature don't go out of their way to start conflict. But if it does happen, it is all out, balls to the wall. I mean, it's survival. It's not about, well, I like your view better, I want that. It's like, no, you've got the better stuff. We want it, and we're willing to die for it. So generally speaking, they will avoid it. But I've heard from Vic Cundiff Speaking of Vic again, that when he was on, he said that generally speaking, what he has heard is that when dogmen move into an area, Bigfoot move out, like they just get the hell out of the way. But I've heard other reports of people seeing Bigfoot and dogman battling. And in this one story, and I'm going to be paraphrasing it terribly because it was years ago that I read this, but this guy was in this area. It was like maybe a campground area or a parking area, maybe a rest stop somewhere in the great north of Canada or somewhere. And he saw this about 8-foot dogman come out of the woods and just stand on the pavement staring back at the tree line, just panting. And it was panting and panting. And you could hear something else coming. And then suddenly a Bigfoot came out launching itself, like a 9-10 foot tall Bigfoot came out, launched itself at the dogman, grabbed it, and basically pulled its head off. And then threw the head into the woods and just went, "Rah," and did this roar. Now, this is allegedly something that was witnessed. I wasn't there. I didn't talk to the witness. It was just one of those found stories. But is that the truth? I do want to believe that between the two, I want to believe that the Bigfoot would be victorious. But I guess it's because while I think Bigfoot can be, extraordinarily dangerous, I think that generally speaking, they stick to their own, they do their own thing, and they avoid us. Dogmen, on the other hand, they seem to actively engage people in terrifying acts of intimidation and fear. Now, they don't actively attack people, but they do seem much more dangerous. Where you might see a Bigfoot 50, 60 yards away that looks over, sees you, and wanders in the woods and disappears. A dogman you won't see until he's like 3 feet away from you, and he comes out just, with sheer terror. Like it wants you to effectively poop yourself. And, so, and maybe it's entertaining to them. I don't know. But, it seems more animalistic in that way, although it still does exhibit restraint. Although, to get back to the missing 411 stuff, what if some of those are dogman attacks of people that weren't so lucky? Maybe, maybe there's dogmen that, or Bigfoot that are wounded and suddenly people become the lowest hanging branch, because we're slow, we're awkward, and it's not hard to catch us in the woods. And so even a wounded or lame Bigfoot could probably, dominate a group of people in a hurry. And whereas, they wouldn't be able to maybe chase down a herd of elk or deer or something, So anyway, I don't know.
It's true. We're easy food. We're snacks.
Boy, Android's still typing. I don't know what's going on there, but I bet you he's going to.
Oh my God.
Android, we only have so much time in our show, dude. There it is. He just finished up.
Okay. All right. Android up next, saying this question is based in a bunch of speculation, and my answer will also be based in a lot of speculation. Unfortunately, that's the best we can do until a body of each is found or their base habitat/home is found so we can observe them. Anyways, assuming Sasquatch is biological and Dogman/Wolfman is interdimensional or spirit-like, I personally believe then I doubt they rarely ever interact with each other, mainly because they both are so rare, and they rarely run into each other. The second reason, because I would assume they likely purposely avoid each other for the same reason lions and leopards who live in the same safari usually try to avoid each other. Oh.
It's okay. Scroll up.
There we go. Because they understand that no matter who wins in a fight, the winner will also still be really badly wounded, which will prevent.
I think it meant prevent.
Oh, prevents them from being able to hunt or forage.
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume they would avoid each other for the same reason.
Right.
Also, for a fun fact,
Pithecus.
Oh, I see. The giant that's right. The giant orangutan that used to roam the earth was up to 9.8 feet tall based off fossils we have found, and up to 700 pounds. That's likely a low estimate, I would imagine, considering a very tiny percent of animals are fossilized. So there's likely 8 to 1,000 pound, 11 to 12 foot alpha males that likely lived and were never fossilized. or just have not found the fossil yet. So I would imagine Sasquatch to be very similar height and weight based off visual reports of it having orangutan-type hair and similar face and
Conical.
skull structure.
Yep. That
Despite
means
that-
cone shaped.
Oh, I thought so. Okay. Despite that, even if Dogman/Wolfman is only 7 foot and 400 pounds, it could probably still gut a Sasquatch with its likely 5+ inch claws and canines. While weaker, they are likely faster and armed with several biological knives.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for any typos. I was rushing. No worries, Android. Well done.
Well done, and great thoughts. Yeah, I mean it is possible. And then Caleb put the Harry and the Hendersons in there. I think it's interesting because there are accounts of people seeing dogmen, and then off in the distance they see Bigfoot just sitting there watching, like they're kind of supervising. And so some people have come to the conclusion that maybe Bigfoot are the handlers. They're in charge of the dogmen, or there's some kind of cooperation like that going on. And I don't know, maybe there is, maybe there's both. Maybe there's clans of Sasquatch that are in cooperation by some degree, whether in a controlling situation or just by cooperation situation, they work together, or maybe there's other clans that just don't like them. Maybe they go at each other. I think it was the siege at Lockett Ranch was from Dark Waters. I think he brought this one up, and he was talking about this story where this family owned this ranch. I think there was siege at Lockett Ranch. It might have been a different one, but siege at Lockett Ranch was basically people were being surrounded by dogmen, and there was a whole crew of them, and they would regularly attack the house. And, jump up on the roof and stomp around and growl and intimidate and attack and just raising hell. And I don't know if I might be transposing two stories here, so if I am, I'm sorry. But if you haven't heard Siege at Lockett Ranch, look it up at Dark Waters YouTube channel, because it's really worth a listen. It's a fascinating and horrifying story for sure. But I think in this... What's that? Siege.
Just Siege?
Yeah, Siege at Lockett Ranch. It's Dark Waters is the gentleman. He's a host that has a YouTube channel and following and stuff. And he's been at it for a long time. I used to listen to him back in the day too. Around the same time I was listening to Wes as I was grinding away life in a cubicle. But interestingly enough, yeah. So while we don't know, there's every take out there is out there. I mean, there's they hate each other, they like each other. Their dogmen are the pets of Bigfoot, and everything in between. So I don't know.
It's kind of like people have been saying it. There's just, until we're able to observe these things happen in their environment, we're just never going to know.
And honestly, I don't expect anybody to know. I'm just curious what your thoughts are. That's why I asked the question. And I may have asked a similar question in the past, but I just happened to be listening to Tony Merkel being interviewed on a different show that he played on his Confessionals podcast page. And it was a good interview. He was being interviewed and talking about, New Orleans and stuff, but they were talking about dogmen in there and the Rougarou and such. And that discussion came up, and I'm like, yeah, I wonder what people think. So that's why I decided to ask the question and see what people thought, because I don't know what to think. I really don't. And granted, none of us do. I guess I think that probably they're largely territorial. Like they have their own places and they try to avoid each other because, again, as was brought up, like anything that fights in nature risks being wounded. And if you're wounded, if you're like, say you're a family clan of Sasquatch and you're the primary alpha and you get wounded, maybe you won't be able to provide for your family. You won't, I mean, they don't go to the hospitals. They don't have clinics. So whatever gets injured just has to heal the slow old fashioned way. They don't get stitched up. They don't get antibiotics and things like that speed healing. So a wound could be fatal, So, I mean, wounds for everything can be fatal, but you know what I mean? Like what might for us be a more benign wound for them could be life altering, so.
True.
So
yeah,
anyway.
that's a good point. I mean, plus their claws could be a way to cause infection too.
Right. Yeah. And what if their claws are real septic? Yeah. I mean, we don't know. That could be who knows how diabolical and intelligent these things are, but there were plenty of old ancient tribes that would dip their weapons in like fecal matter before going into battle, because that way if they just cut somebody, they would be, possibly introducing a toxic infection, so it's either going to kill you now or in a week, but you're probably not going to fare real well if you get cut. And maybe these things are just as smart. Maybe they grab a pile of poop before they go in and, because they're gonna be laying cuts on things.
That's what in Vietnam, that's what they did as well.
Did
the Vietnamese would lay their traps, the spike traps, with bunch of poop and just a bunch of other stuff, so that if you did land in it, even if it just cut your foot, that's a huge infection.
Yeah. Well, anyway, folks, this has been the question of the week. Let's get on with the rest of our show. Let me do this. I thought it was going to come up automatically. All right, folks, we're back at it here on the Paranormal Portal. And again, the ball is back here. The little ball is right back there by the skull next to the glowing moon on the table behind me. And I figured we'd do a little bit of talking. Again, I've only twice had Skype fail on me since I've been doing this show. I've had a lot of things fail, but Skype has never been one of them that just suddenly crashed for no reason, no indication, just suddenly it was gone. It wasn't like even an error popped up. It was just like it was closed, and that certainly wasn't me. Ghost Radar then, shows some kind of figure standing maybe right here. I don't know. It was right. No, it was on my left side behind me. And, Sheldon, you weren't there suddenly. It's like, whoa, that's strange. So, given that it's not been happening much, I think it's incredibly interesting.
And it was very coincidence or not.
Coincidence or not. But what I thought we would do then is, let's see if we can get some communication going. So I will tell you, again, I mentioned that I've been reviewing the footage of the Davenport Hotel. And I will tell you that we did the flashlight test, Charles and I, down in the lobby at about 2 a.m. In the Davenport Hotel. We didn't have exclusive access to the hotel, so there's things going on that I'll have to edit out, people walking by and stuff like that. But we got somebody talking to us because the lights were coming on right at cue and going off when we asked, and it was just incredible. But interestingly enough, we weren't getting a lot of feedback. But Charles and I just started talking about things like psychics and about spirits and about Davenport and his life. Mr. Davenport's Louis Davenport, who built the hotel. And the interesting thing was, this man was apparently a wonderful, wonderful man, he and his wife. But he started his whole business with a waffle stand and ended up making one of the most beautiful, ornate jewel box hotels that I've ever been in. It just is opulent. It's beautiful. It says, it didn't say a word. Why didn't it say it? The sound is on. Maybe the volume's down. Got to make sure it's all the way up here. Oh, shoot. What did I do? I took a picture of it. Sorry. I don't know
what does it say?
No, it says bullet. Bullet. Oh, look at this. Why aren't you talking? Why aren't you saying something? It says, we live on. Well, why is there no sound? That's unusual.
Huh.
It has been talking.
Another thing
What?
going on.
Yeah, another thing going on. It's not. It said, we live on and bullet. Well, we're glad you live on. That's been kind of our journey here on the portal, and it's interesting because I talk about how I want answers to all of this stuff, and we live on comes on here. So I'm glad to hear that. Of course, I do believe we do, and I always have believed we do. But what do you do here? Are you always here? Do you just visit? What is this situation for you? And of course, I'm speaking to the spirit or spirits that are trying to communicate with us. But what I noticed when I was investigating with Charles was that we didn't get a lot of activity right away, but we just started having this dialogue between Charles and I. And suddenly when we'd say something, the flashlight would come on, like boom, like it was agreeing. And then we were able to build a dialogue off of that response, like it was just sitting there listening. And it was really cool. And then once we started, getting that interaction happening, the flashlights were just spot on. It was just incredible. I'm really excited to show you guys that video. It says, "We make noises." Do you? Did you make my computer program close? Did you affect my computer? Was that happening? Yeah, I'm wondering why I don't have sound. Oh, I have an idea. It might be going through my Bluetooth to something else. It could just be something stupid like that, right? Let me turn off Bluetooth here.
Could be. Yeah.
There we go. All right. Maybe now we'll get some kind of actual words. Okay.
Minion's sitting there afraid, hearing noises around him.
It's like, why is it talking in my video game? Is it gonna say Sarah? Yeah, it was. It was going to my Bluetooth headsets, which is right next to me. Sarah. We live on Sarah and Bullet. Okay. But Sarah.
Sounds like Sarah Connor.
No, don't mock the spirits. You're going to end up causing me troubles. Sarah, were you a former resident of this home? Did you live here? Or did you live in the area? We'll see if we can get Sarah to say anything. And maybe we should just be a continued dialogue. Maybe we should just have a discussion among us. Anybody in the chat? What do you think? Is this a weird night or what? Again, it was pretty freaky that Skype closed, that the ghost radar picked up something and it said everyone. I thought that was pretty fascinating. And now this device that I'm holding is called Spirit Talker. And this is one we've been kind of reviewing on the channel for a few weeks now. And money. Absolutely. Do you want to donate to the show? If you do, I'd really appreciate it. There's a PayPal link right on your screen. Or maybe you don't have screens. Maybe you can see it on my screen. It's donate paypal.me/paranormal portal. Just, I don't know if spirits can donate, but they can manipulate electronics. So maybe somebody's PayPal is going to be a little thin tomorrow.
Rachel has a suggestion saying, can you see the moon and stars?
That's a great question. So spirit that's here talking to us, are you able to see the moon and the stars at night? Ooh.
Don't antagonize.
Oh.
I apologize if I'm coming across.
I apologize.
Yeah, I don't mean any disrespect. You'll have to forgive me. I don't mean to antagonize you in any way. We of course want to be respectful and kind. And thank you for the conversation. But we do have questions. Excuse me. And we can't see things the way you see them. Oh, K-Love, thank you so much.
Thank you, K-Love. Oh my God.
It was a premonition. It said money. I'm not antagonizing, just for the record. I'm sorry if if I've seemed disrespectful. It's really not targeted at you. It's just me being stupid, which is honestly most of my life.
Same. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, so don't think I'm disrespecting you. I'm just being the normal idiot that I always am. But would love to hear more from you. I'd love to hear, what do you think of all of this? Can you see and experience things like the night sky the same way you did in life? Can you see the moon and the stars? Or do things look different for you? What do you see from your perspective? Because we can't understand.
Demonstrate.
I don't know how to demonstrate. Were you formerly a person, or have you never been a person? Are you some other type of intelligence? And if so, what type? Would you mind telling us? This is our opportunity to communicate with you. And through this device that I'm holding, hopefully, you're able to effectively communicate back with us. So if there is some way you can share some insight to your experience, we would really appreciate it, because we just don't understand. Oh, that's a good question. And if this is Sarah we're speaking to, that's the only name that's come up. Sarah, did you have a faith? Did you have a religious observation, or do you have a religious observation or faith that you practiced in life or currently still practice? What nationality are you? Yeah. And Sarah, what nationality? We got a lot of questions, Sarah. People are really wanting to understand who we're speaking with. And so any of these questions that you can answer or choose to answer, we would really appreciate. This is an opportunity for us to understand your experience a little better. Oh.
Victor.
Are we speaking with a Victor now? Is that who we're speaking to? Is Victor, were you formerly living in this home? Is this where you experienced your life? Or are you just stopping in? So we'll keep an eye on it and see what responses we get. I got to admit, the more that we're using this, and this is another consideration I had, was that maybe that's the learning curve that I keep referring to.
I'm happy.
Good. I'm glad you're happy. Thank you. We certainly want you to be happy, and we certainly want to share in this experience with you. So thank you for being happy to be here or talking with us. We're happy to hear from you. But am I speaking with Victor? Is that your name? Or is that just what you want to be called? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Sometimes responses come quick, sometimes they don't. What we don't know is this an energetically exhausting thing for spirits to do? Is this cumbersome and tiring, or is it just take a while to formulate responses? Now, when I was doing the EVP session with my recorder live on the show, I think it's really important that you leave at least 10 seconds after every question. And I suppose it's the same for this kind of device. You're asking a lot of these intelligences, these spirits, and maybe it's not easy to do. Maybe they have to work at it. But what I was mentioning before is I think the more that I've used this. Down? Okay. I don't know what that means. Not sure what the word down is referring to. If you can give me more understanding of what that word means, or what does that relate to, I would appreciate any guidance or information, because the word down by itself just means below me. Below me is dirt. So, well, after the floor. I mean, I got floors here, but but anyway, I think that the more I've used this, the more the responses seem relevant to some kind of theme or discussion. Some of these names seem a little random, but I was being kind of cocky, just being cheeky, and don't antagonize came through. And I'm really impressed by that, because it was very relevant to what was going on at that moment. So I think those are pretty solid hits. Like they would seem to suggest that there is an observation, an active observation of me and what I'm doing, as well as what this spirit could be thinking. And I think that that's very powerful. So
Yeah,
we'll
100%
keep tracking it. But again, if there is a spirit here, there's this little ball right here that I'm pointing right at. If you can move this little ball a little bit, or maybe just by touching it because you're energetic, it could show us that you're present. Or if you can appear on the ghost radar and make that go off to show us that where you are in this room, that would be wonderful too. Oh, this is dark.
Strangled.
Strangled. Oh no.
Oh.
I hope that's not the story of your passing. Whether it's Victor or Sarah or whomever, I hope that that wasn't the way that you ended your life or your life was ended for you. Again, I don't know of any stories or history of this house or area that would relate to that. So that doesn't make so much sense to me personally, but I don't know what is the distance. Like, do these have to be local spirits? Could they just
That's
be,
what I was thinking. Yeah.
could they be from anywhere? Maybe they're wandering, and because we're having this discussion, maybe it serves as a beacon to them and they reach, oh, I can maybe share something now. I'm certainly sorry if that's how you met your end. That's terrible.
We love talking.
Well, we love talking too. So I hope you will continue to share and let us know about you. We just want to understand. We mean no disrespect. We come only in peace and love, but we want to understand, what is your experience? And again, can you see the stars in the sky at night? Are you able to observe those? Or the moon? Or does it look completely different for you? We don't understand how you see. Oh.
Between.
Between. So maybe you see the light and the stars and the moon, but you see other things more between. I wonder. That's interesting. And again, part of it is you get these little pieces and you try to flesh it out into the narrative. How does that relate to what I'm asking? Well, I could be absolutely wrong. Maybe they see something different, like it's between worlds kind of thing. They see a little bit of our world and a little bit of their world, or something to that effect. We don't know. I find it interesting that we, and I don't think there's any difference between us and these other intelligences other than, I'm sure there's differences, but you know what I mean? Whether they're the state of their soul, I don't know. They could be damaged, tortured souls. They could be shattered souls. They could be fragments of souls. We just don't know. But they exist energetically. And I think that we exist energetically at our core as well as an integrated whole spirit. But we don't know if these are, and I don't mean to sound condescending because it's not that at all, but we don't know if these are actual full-fledged souls and personalities. Are these fragments of personalities, maybe something that was broken off of a person if they went through a horrible event or something, just some, how people psychologically shatter. Maybe some of these earthbound spirits are the fragments of some of that, but they still retain a consciousness. Abandon. Were you abandoned? I'm so sorry if you were abandoned. That must feel very sad. That's certainly not good. Nobody
Also,
wants to be abandoned. What?
Are you taking calls right now?
We can. Sure.
Brenda is on the line.
No, she's not. Oh, now she is.
Okay.
She just popped up now. All right, let's get to the call, and we'll keep rolling on this to see what else comes through. And this is Brenda. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, thank you. Thanks for
Brenda.
calling in.
Good.
We can hear you good.
Hey, awesome. Yeah, the first time I called, I just heard you talking. It was
Whisper.
like I just joined the show on a different dimension or something.
No, it's fine. You're coming through loud and clear.
Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. I have a really, 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 really strong feeling that who might be talking tonight is not a spirit
Okay.
named Sarah or a spirit that resided in your house before. I have a feeling that it's somebody I know.
Oh. Okay.
And my heart is beating a mile a minute. I'm sorry. If you start where the words that the spirit box started saying tonight, I could pretty much explain to you that almost every single phrase or name, whatever,
Okay.
is directly related to my sister that passed in March.
Oh, okay. Wow, I got
And
chills everywhere.
I'm sorry. I'm serious. I'm chilled all over, head to toe.
Yeah.
What was the first word that it said? Because I'm really
Well-
tired and I'm not remembering everything.
The first thing it said was bullet, and then, do you remember what the second one was, Sheldon?
No.
I don't either, but since I returned it on to get the sound working, it said Sarah, money, don't antagonize.
Mhm.
Yep, don't antagonize.
Mhm.
Oh, here's another one coming.
Bad.
Bad,
Oh, okay.
but
We'll slow down a minute and we'll start at the beginning, okay?
okay.
Bullet relates to my sister because I had a dog named Buster.
Uh-huh.
She was definitely afraid of big dogs. He was a bulldog mastiff mix.
Okay.
And she wouldn't call him Buster because she called him two names. She called him Mr. Suede and she called him Bullet because he ran like he was shot out of a bullet. He was a big dog, but he had this humongous hunches. Like he could look like a dog that would be a bodybuilder.
Sure.
And he helped her get over her fear of big dogs. Okay, so the bullet may relate to that. It may
Okay.
not be a physical bullet,
Sure.
from a gun.
Right. Okay.
The next thing was Sarah, all right?
Yep.
Her name was
Forward.
Kathleen. Her name was not Sarah, but my daughter's name is Sarah.
Oh.
And they were pretty close for a long time.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. And then was
Yeah. So I may just be tired and crazy, but I just could not resist calling in because there's been so much that has happened with her between her and I the last 2 weeks. I had to. I knew people were hearing me talk in the chat. So, anyways, I also had a yard sale today and sold most of my daughter Sarah's wedding stuff from last summer.
Oh.
So that could relate to Sarah
Yeah.
because there was money involved.
Right.
I
Okay.
didn't make that because I put into it, of course.
Mhm.
It just didn't happen.
Right.
But we helped a lot of people. I made a lot of people happy.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Then-
So that could be it.
So it
The
says.
last time I had a yard sale here was for her and her husband.
Oh.
Sold
okay.
$3,000 of tools that he had and
Oh,
a
wow.
lot of her household stuff. They downsized. I'm
Wow.
sorry.
Well, no, it said monk just a second ago. A monk.
It said monk. Okay.
M-O-N-K.
I'm not sure if that one relates to. Okay, this is Sarah and money, and then there was a don't antagonize me.
Yeah, don't antagonize, but I thought
Right.
I was being kind of silly.
That
No, that
if there was probably one word that described my sister, or one phrase, that's it. I'm telling you,
Our settlement.
she was the oldest sister. What did it say?
Our settlement.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. She would say things to us like, because she was the oldest sister, the fourth of 11 kids, and she would say, "Don't antagonize me. Leave me alone." She was seriously, and she used words like antagonize. And here we are,
Sure.
like 4, 5, 6, 7 year old, going, "What does that mean?" She was 13 when I was born.
Wow.
Did it
Okay.
just say something again?
No. It's
Okay.
it's since you've been on the phone, it said forward, monk, and our settlement. But the word strangled,
Okay.
the word strangled did come up. Does that relate?
Unfortunately, it says
Oh.
her husband. I'm serious. This is the hardest part for me right now. All the
I'm
phrases
sorry.
or words that were said. Yeah,
I'm
her
going to
husband did
leave.
try to strangle her.
Oh. It just said
What did it say?
I'm going to leave.
Oh my God. It's okay.
Well,
All right. When it said we live on, right?
yes.
That's obviously most of the time it says one word. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, it does say
said-
groups of words sometimes. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
yeah, that's
answering.
right.
It's
Okay.
answering right
False.
now. It says
But
false.
I mean that would obviously be a message from any spirit to
Sure.
kind of comfort us, I guess, would say.
Sure.
And that's even though my sister was the big sister that said, "Don't antagonize me, leave me alone," and that she would be the first one to say, you know, don't worry, you know, we live on, or you know,
yeah.
comforting things. She was
Sure.
like a second mom to me.
Oh,
That's sweet.
and then it said
But yes, unfortunately, her husband did try to strangle her. I was on my way there, and police were already there when I got there.
Oof.
I helped her move out. We helped her with their divorce settlement.
Oh, settlement.
But unfortunately, she did go back to him in these last few years before she died.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Wow.
But I don't think anything like that happened again. So
Yeah. Okay.
not that I heard of, at least.
Okay.
So it was, yeah. But all in all, he was not a good person.
I'm sorry.
And if she's saying she was happy,
Yeah.
that relates to her because she really, really, really struggled with her mental health,
Oh.
mostly because of him, and mostly because about 25 years ago, he approved 22 electric shock therapies on her with no one in the family knowing, not even her son knowing. His daughter knew.
Oh,
So-
no. Wow.
And it was by a psychiatrist in town that is very well known for those things. Like doctors group I worked for with 40 doctors would not refer to that psychiatrist anymore years ago.
Look,
So
we're
yeah,
here.
he's not a nice guy,
Yeah, no kidding. It just said, look, we're
to say
here.
the least. So if she's saying I'm happy, she is saying that as a message to let me or us know that she's happy.
Oh.
Because a week ago Monday, I had a psychic reading by Mama Medium, Jenny Cancelmi, who I have a monthly membership thing with. So once a month, she does a Zoom group reading, and my sister came through.
Oh, cool.
And she said for basically the same thing, that I'm happy, the pain is gone.
Wow.
And she wasn't one that really had a lot of physical pain.
Sure. Yeah.
She was the oldest of my sisters. She was physically in the best shape. So that tells you anything. So
Yeah.
there was so much in the reading that I had from her, but it was basically her and my mom. And it was a huge reassurance, except that she told me she is with the sister that is ill. And we have two other sisters that are just younger than her. They're both having health issues. So
Oh.
that was a confidence.
You must help.
So it said two things now. It said, look, we're here. And then right after that, you said that she and your mom came through in the reading. So look, we're here seems to apply. And then you just talked about,
My God.
you just talked about the 6 sisters, and she said, you must help. So,
Oh my God. Because the message that came through from my mom last Monday
Look.
was, I'm sorry, I'm trying to hold it together because my mom wanted to thank me for, I'm a nurse. Okay, I was in healthcare for 35 years.
sure.
And the last 15 years that I worked, I was able to work what's called PRN, as needed. I helped when my dad was ill. He died in 2001. My other sister's a nurse also, and we both helped. My mom was ill and had to go in the nursing home. I lived right behind her. I was her daily caretaker in a lot of ways. And my sister that died 3 years ago with ovarian cancer, she lived in California, asked me if she could come back to Indiana to die, and I redecorated a room in my house for her, and she died here. So my mom said to me in the reading, thank you so much for all the help that you've given everybody. And my sister that just passed said, I'm watching over the sister that's sick. What did it say?
Prepare.
Oh my God. My sister that just died said, I'm watching over the sister that's ill, and it's worse than you guys think.
Oh, wow.
My sister that one of them that's having problems, my other sister and I and my husband went on a cruise together in March. We've been trying to talk to her son ever since because her memory is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And she was down to like 89 pounds. Okay, she's always been skinny.
Mm-hmm.
Her nickname is Twiggy.
Oh,
Twiggy from back in the 60s.
Yep, the model.
That was her nickname. What's that?
The model, yeah. Twiggy, the model, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was saying something else.
No.
But yeah, I honestly, Brent, there's 10 out of 10 tonight. I think it's my sister trying to come through.
It seems
I've
like
had
it.
so many weird things happen. And today,
A bad
during
spirit.
a yard sale, I was coming back from the house after coming in to check on the dog, and my phone rang, and it showed up Kathleen, and that's her name.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I ran to where my other sister was so I could show her what was showing up on my phone. And the call stopped before I got there because we have a long driveway and we have like 2 or 3 acres here. And so by the time I got there, it didn't show up, and it didn't show up in my call log. But she believed me.
Uh-huh.
And I had my other sister text my husband because people were asking me about some of the stuff in the garage sale. She called him, and he said, no, I turned Kathy's phone off in April.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
powerful. Very,
And I knew
very
he had.
powerful. Yeah,
With him, I'm not surprised he didn't do it the day after she died. That's,
sure.
you know.
Wow.
We had called him to ask if he wanted us to sell any of her belongings or anything. He said, no, I already got rid of everything.
Oh, okay.
And then kind of hung up. So.
Oh, jeez. Well, I hope.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to be a crappy person,
No.
but I have no love lost for my ex-brother-in-law.
Well, I don't.
I really don't.
Yeah, it's funny. It said a bad spirit,
Sit and listen.
and it says sit and listen now. So.
Oh my God! Yeah. Because that all makes sense.
Yeah.
He is a bad spirit.
Yeah.
He is a very bad spirit.
Wow.
He's a guy that he used to be a pastor and he thinks he knows everything, and not saying that anybody that's a pastor. I mean, obviously,
Sure.
I'm not dissing that
No, I
profession
understand.
at all. They're, but he's disingenuous. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
I know too much about him.
Yeah. Exactly. Wow. Well, I think it's
What did it just say?
dance.
Dance?
Dance.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I'm not sure what that would mean.
Well, maybe she's dancing now because
Good.
he would never dance with her. I don't know.
Or maybe she's dancing because she's
So I had
free
to
of
share
all
that. I'm sorry. Thank you for listening.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. I
think
hope I
it's
don't sound crazy.
no, actually, I think it's really cool because, I it's funny because Deb actually and I were talking after we did this one night on the show, and she's like, it's almost like it's responding to people in the chat, and I never really thought
Yeah.
about that before Deb said it, and now you're calling in going, hey, I think I know who this is, and I think that's incredibly powerful. I didn't know we were doing readings tonight, but apparently we got a head start on Deb.
Well, I have a really this is the last 10 years, so I really realized how much ability I have to
Yeah.
communicate and see the signs. And
Good.
every psychic I've ever had a reading from, they tell me, you see things too, and you have abilities too. And I'm
Important.
like, yeah, but
The word important just came through. So,
oh, okay,
guess-
mine must be important then.
yeah, it must be important for you to realize that. Yeah.
It might be, but I just don't really have any desire to be a person that, would be I can tell people things. I would say, this is why or whatever,
Yeah.
and it comes true, and they're like, you must be psychic. And I'm like, it's just a feeling. I'm going with the feeling. I'm going with the vibe.
Well, that's what
So,
psychic is. I mean, really.
I don't want to earn money from it. I don't
Right.
want to I don't want to invite anything else in. I have
Sure.
enough going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I'm
that's
only 6.
But,
it says I'm only 6. I don't know who this is. Okay. Something came through said I'm only
Only
6. Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
That might be something different now. But I think that's incredible, and I really appreciate you calling in because that brings a whole
thank you.
huge level of credibility to this. This is why I'm doing it on the show, is I'm testing this app because I want to use it when I'm investigating, but
Right.
I want to believe in it.
It,
You know.
this is the one that glitched a lot when you first started
Yes.
it, right?
Yes. Oddly enough, I watched a few shows that use it as well, and one time theirs glitched out the same way, and they were freaked out. They're like, "This never does this." So I was like, "Whoa, maybe that was more."
Wow.
It was. I was just assuming
Yeah,
maybe it wasn't stable. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe it's just like a staticky connection.
Yeah, maybe.
To the other side.
Yeah.
Francis.
That's
It says Francis. Does that mean anything to you?
that's my dad's middle name,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and he liked to go by that because his first name was Cornelius.
Oh. Well,
He always hated that name.
is he passed?
Wow, that's weird.
Is he passed as well?
Oh, he's been dead since 2001. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you'd mentioned that. So apparently he decided to say
Yeah.
hello too. So it sounds like you got a lot of
He
people.
might have.
Yeah, sounds like you got a lot of people wanting
I
to
have.
reach out to you.
And if you knew my family, they never stopped talking. So, Irish Catholic, you can't help it. Irish Catholic German, you know.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
This was awesome.
Is
Thank
it?
you so much for letting me
Bernadette.
call in because
Do you know the name Bernadette?
Bernadette.
Yeah.
Yes, my mom wanted me to name me that. My mom wanted me to name me Bernadette.
Oh,
My dad
wow.
said no because people will call her Bernie, and that's a boy's name.
Wow.
Wow, you're bringing all
Yes.
kinds of
Hi,
credibility.
Mom. Hi,
Yep.
Dad. Hi, Kathy.
Obviously.
Hi, Cindy.
They're-
Hi, Kevin. Hi, Denny.
they're-
That's all my 4 siblings, my parents in the past, my nephew Chris,
Oh,
all my dozens of. I love you all. Thank you. This
oh,
has been
Whoa.
that's huge.
cleansing. That is massive. I will sleep good tonight as long as they don't bother me and try to.
Oh, they're
I
obviously.
wake up sometimes.
Yeah,
What's that?
they're obviously with
I
you.
wake up sometimes, Brent.
Yeah.
Oh, they always are. I wake up sometimes with them or someone right in my face.
Oh,
I
wow.
think one night in the chat you were talking about it.
Yes.
Yeah, I do. And I wake up and it's not scary. It's just startling. And I'll go, no, sleeping. Yeah, I do.
Good for you.
Because, and yeah, it's great. It really is. It's because
Oh,
I want to say this. My mom and dad raised 11 kids, and
wow.
every darn one of us was really good people. And
Oh,
all of our
good.
kids are really good people. And you guys are like a second family to me. Not that I need it. None of us have a house big enough to have a party anymore.
Oh, it's just it just said John now too. If that means anything to you.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
My ex-husband was John, but my dad's grandfather was John.
Oh, okay.
And my dad's grandfather came to him all the time when he was dying, all the time.
Oh,
He was a farmer. So my
okay.
dad would see him as soon as he had the bed with overalls on. And
Oh.
he would tell my dad, I used to have that too, and it'll be okay, it'll pass.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
That's so sweet.
I hope we weren't talking about my ex-husband.
Well, I like the grandpa version better.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, me too.
thank
a
you.
little bit.
Thank you so much for calling in, and I appreciate that a bunch.
Thank you.
And we will
Thank you, guys.
we'll keep going here a little bit. I think we're going to probably
Well, and there's lots of Johns in the chat, too. There's all these great Johns in the chat.
yeah.
Did it just say something again?
It did, but it was really dark. I don't think I want to. It said kill, so I don't know what that means.
Well, no.
No.
No, nobody's been killed in my family, and nobody has killed anybody, so
Okay. Well,
that's somebody else. I guess we're done.
I guess we're done. I guess the whole family tree showed up for you, so that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? When I saw a psychic 2 years ago in person, I had 4 of them come through.
Wow.
She said that is the first time I've had 4 come through at once. I've
Well, it's
only ever had 3.
For me too.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're coming through like crazy for you. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you,
Oh.
Brenda. I appreciate you calling
Thank
in.
you so much. You guys have a good night.
All right.
I
Good
love
night.
everybody. I love this chat, the show.
All
Bye-bye.
right. We love you too. Good
ya.
night.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Wow. That's
Wow,
incredible.
indeed.
Well, I think that's where we'll stop it, and we'll do some Cryptid Corner and close it out. But special thank you to, oh, geez, another dark one.
She screams.
Okay, that's enough.
You're not welcome, this whole dark thing.
I will antagonize you.
No, we just won't. We won't entertain that anymore. So
Nope.
we're going to be cleansing the studio after this one now.
Yep, time to go.
Yeah, something else came in. It's not so happy. So we won't be having that in the house. That's not welcome. All right, let me just turn on this again. I got to turn everything back on. There we go.
What a powerful session, though.
Wow, I had chills. I had chills just shooting through me. It's like, oh my God, Bernadette. Oh, everything coming up was just so relevant. And it's really neat because to me, it just seemed random. But it's like this was an avenue of communication that allegedly they took. And it reinforced so much from her reading that she had and her own knowledge. So to compel her to come forward and say, I think I know who you're talking to. It's like, wow. I was taken aback, like, well, is that possible? And then she started naming those things. I'm like, oh my God. I was just getting chills. Like, oof, that's so powerful. Amazing. And I'm actually really honored because, to be able to bring healing, even through a ghost hunting app, to me is special. That's incredible. And it really actually gives me a hell of a lot more faith in that app. That's what this has been about, is me just testing it live on the shows because, if I'm going to be using this app when I'm investigating, I got to be able to at least kind of believe that what I'm getting is relevant, not just a bunch of regurgitated algorithms spitting out random words, and so that's what's huge. Wow.
Yeah, that definitely didn't seem like an algorithm.
No, if it was, that was a hell of an algorithm, and that programmer is in the wrong line of work.
True. Yeah.
They just programmed God. Oh, that's really powerful, though. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you again for that call. That was really special and not at all what I expected. I was expecting maybe the ball, the flash, but Skype crashed. The spirit showed up behind my shoulder. Everyone came through on the ghost radar. And then, the session that we had was really powerful. So this is
Brenda said she had a strong feeling to call in too.
Oh, good. Well, I'm really, really glad you did for a number of reasons. First of all, that's really, it really validates the experience. Because without your call in, none of that, some of it might have made sense, but some of it seemed kind of random. And then when you called in to tie it all together with your, the narrative of why it made sense, it's like, oh man. So I have a whole new respect for this app now. That to me is really selling it. I've watched it used on these shows, these YouTube shows that use it, and it seemed relevant to what they were doing. But to have it happen in real time right here on a live show, and again, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, but this is completely unscripted. We don't have a plan. We just have an idea of what we're going to do, and we do it, and whatever happens, happens.
I came home late, so there's no time to plan for anything.
and I'm just not that good at planning anything. If you knew me in real life, you'd know that was the case. So, very powerful, very cool. What a magical night. That's outstanding.
Caleb had a great, even more on top of that. Notice how the frequency, when Brenda was on the line, the frequency of the talking a lot more pointed words.
Yeah, so, it was very directed. You're absolutely right, Caleb. Good point. What is the name of the app? It is called, and I'll put it up on screen here. I won't launch it again because no one's...
Is it Spirit Talker?
Yeah, Spirit Talker. Yeah. I'm going to put it up on the screen so that when people are looking, this is what it should look like. When you download these apps, it's on the Android and on iPhone, so it's there. It does cost a couple bucks, just so you know. But, the only reason I actually took the plunge and bought it was because I'd seen it being used, and I'm like, God, that seems uncannily accurate to what's going on. Again, I don't know if these shows are real scripted or how it works, but I'm not there doing it. But just in these unbroken lines of footage, it's bringing up relevant things to what's going on in those experiences. So if it's edited, they're doing a hell of a job, because I didn't catch the seams. And I was like, I got to try out this app. So I got it. And I'm really glad I did. There's another one that I want to get that's made by the same company. It's called like a Music Box. And instead of generating words, you can cue it to trigger off of things like the motion. So you put your phone down, and if it goes off, then something is changing the position of your phone just a little and triggering music. Like, it sounds like the old Music Box music. But I wonder if I can find that, just out of curiosity. I want to just see.
John
what?
John Temp Bryan asked, do these apps affect your contact lists?
No, not that. I mean, I don't let anything I download on my phone access my contact lists. I never do. It's like, no, I'm not into that. Oh, let's see if we can find some of your friends. It's like, no, let's not.
No.
Let's not get in touch with all my address book.
Yeah.
So you can spam them too. No, I never let apps do that. I just want to look and see if I can find the Music Box app.
Bach.
I know, it's like I'm like channeling my.
Well, Bach was a musician, so I mean, you're close.
No, I was trying to say box, but my palate wasn't cooperating. No, it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna have to look by the manufacturer to see who made it, because it's made by the same people that make the Spirit Talker. I just saw it demonstrated on the Yasko channel tonight. Although this looks like some pretty cool apps too, but they're music related. It has nothing to do with the Paranormal Portal. So what I want to do, guys, is do a quick story from the Cryptid Corner. And this one is from phantomsandmonsters.com. I saw a wolfman, North Carolina, witness recalls frightening incident. Ooh. Again, Phantoms and Monsters is Lon Strickler's site. It's a phenomenal site. Definitely check it out. Check out what he's doing over there, because you will find thousands of encounter reports like this. You will find Lon and his team's research efforts into different phenomena. You'll find links to Lon's podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And you'll find listings of Lon's published works. He's a published author. His books are also available through Phantoms and Monsters, as well as, I'm sure, Amazon. So check it out. There's so much to see at phantomsandmonsters.com. Oh, my God. I'm surrounded by them. There's two behind me. Oof.
Oh.
Surrounded. It's okay.
They want to talk again.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was the last ones that were in here.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah.
It might be them. It's like, I'm not sure I want to have a discussion, fellas. So no, it'll be that just for the record. I do this here, and I've always told people, look, there's a liability to doing this stuff. I've always held the line, you never investigate where you live. And I do still believe that. I will tell you that there are things that I've set up in the studio that should act as repellents to the negative energies being able to stick around. There are things in my home that are positioned as such that are supposed to ward off dark and evil spirits and stuff. And I'm not going to go into my own personal traditions or beliefs, but I will just tell you that you should utilize things that are powerful to you. And I certainly have done that, and I do regularly do things to keep the energy down. Now, could it still have a risk? Sure, it could. And, I don't ever try to tempt fate, and I don't try to push or to antagonize, even though, you're being a little corny tonight and got chastised a little bit. But, I do take protection very seriously. It's something I've been practicing for years and years and years. And just to give you a little window, I've never talked about all of my experiences with the paranormal, and I probably never will. There was a time when I dealt with something extraordinarily dark, and it was quite a battle. And this was long before I ever had the Paranormal Portal. It was one of those things where I learned a lot about protection and about purging, about cleansing, about energy, and all of those things because I was actively attacked for a long time. That's all I will say about it. Not because I'm not wanting to share, but it's just such a dark part of my life. And not that I was a horrible person by any measure, but I was just targeted by something for a long time. And it was truly an agonizing period of my life. So I do very sincerely practice what I preach, and I do it very consciously and very actively. So I'm not saying that, I can keep anything away. I'm not coming at it from a place of ego. But after going through that, it leaves a footprint on you, and it also makes you take it real seriously. So even though I like to have fun on the shows, there's a very serious undertone to my regard for all of this. So I don't do it tongue in cheek, sincerely, but I like to have fun on the shows and keep things light. So I just want to put that out there. So because I really don't advocate people doing this in their own home. Go somewhere and do it, and open safely, close safely, and cleanse, and release, and then leave whatever it was there. Don't let it follow you home. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. So back to the Cryptid Corner. This is from Saturday, April 22nd, 2023. It says, I saw a wolfman. North Carolina witness recalls frightening incident. Yeah, we should have enough time. All right, it says, hi, Mr. Strickler. I've really enjoyed your Phantoms and Monsters ebooks and blog over the last few years. I just finished the most recent book, which had several dog and wolf humanoid encounters. Well, I like reading about these encounters because it makes me feel better to know that there are others out there who have had encounters with something that they can't explain. Well, I decided that I would send you my weirdest story, which happened to me as a child. I have seen and felt strange things since then, but this encounter was both the strangest thing that has ever happened to me, and I believe a catalyst for other unusual things in my life and an interest in them. Several years ago, I sent this encounter to another well-known researcher, but I never heard anything back, and I'm not surprised, as it was pretty odd and seems made up, but it did happen. When it was, I have no idea. What it was, I have no idea, rather. When I was a little girl, my pawpaw lived in an old farmhouse in the upper end of Cleveland County, North Carolina, and we used to go visit him every Saturday. My dad, my mom, my baby brother, and I, along with usually several of my dad's brothers, his sister, and their assorted children, would congregate after lunch at Pawpaw's. Our cousins would play together outside and in and out in the woods, which ran behind my Pawpaw's farm and stretched for probably 10 miles to a dirt road, beyond which was an apple orchard and a cattle pasture. And this is the early 80s in a rural area, back when kids could take off into the woods for hours, and it was okay. We would all have dinner together and then hang out until bedtime for us kids. When we would all head home, and at that time, I just turned 8. My cousin Jay was 6. Man, I couldn't imagine letting an 8 and 6-year-old run around in the woods by themselves. Oh, God. My brother and Jay's sister were both small toddlers, barely walking. The night in question, Jay and I and our little siblings were the only kids present at Pawpaw's. He and I had spent the day playing in the woods as usual, and out in the yard where Jay was trying out his prized brand new skateboard. After supper, we hung out on the back bedroom watching TV until our parents informed us that it was time to go home. Well, Pawpaw's house had a glassed-in porch, which also served as the laundry room in the front, right outside the kitchen. Well, this porch, because of the way the lot was laid out and the house was built, was fairly tall, and looking out the windows gave you a panoramic and slightly elevated view of the backyard. I'd speculate that the porch windows were about 20 feet off the ground and the backyard sloped away from the porch. The backyard was lit by two large lights, one which was mounted to a pole on the left of the yard and the other mounted to the side of Papa's shop, which was to the right. Well, they were very bright and each lit up a fairly large area. The only really shadowy part of the backyard was the area where a large tree stood, casting a shadow that fell between the shop and the greenhouse, which was to the far left of the yard. And it was under this tree that Jay had left his skateboard when we stopped playing to eat supper. And he and I decided that we should go out and get it while our parents were still saying their goodbyes in the kitchen. The Wolfman was in the backyard. We saw him at the same time. As soon as we entered the porch, he was man-sized, and he looked exactly like a werewolf from a bad B movie. He had a shaggy, dark brown wolfman head with long, pointed ears and a lighter brown muzzle. His hands were human-like as best as I can remember, although they were covered in dark fur, and he had long claws. He was wearing a red and black checkered flannel shirt and blue jeans. I don't remember anything about his feet, whether he had shoes or claws, but his legs were straight like a person's, not bent backwards like a dog, and he was walking back and forth in the yard, almost robot-like or as if he were on a track. I can't really describe it well. It was like his legs were moving a little, but not enough to actually count as walking. It was more like he was gliding, but in a very jerky way. His body was human in proportion. He would move from the edge of the light near the greenhouse across to the light of the shop, stepping when he reached the end of the illuminated area, turning around in a strange jerky way, and then gliding back. His eyes were red and glowed some, like one of those laser lights that used to tease cats. That color was about that level of brightness, and the only time he was out of our sight was when he passed into the shadowed area of the tree. He seemed to be showing off for us, wanting us to see him, or at least that was what it felt like. The feeling that he carried with him was of overwhelming malevolence. I felt like he knew we were there and he could see us watching and feel that we were afraid, and he was glad. Not sure if that makes sense, but it was what I felt at the time. Dread and fear, like he was aware of us and doing what he was doing on purpose to scare us. Of course, we freaked out and started screaming for our parents, and of course, once they all rushed out onto the porch, only to hear us hysterical because the Wolfman was in the backyard, and they said the usual parent things about overactive imagination and too much Scooby-Doo. Because even though he was there walking back and forth right in front of them, and we could both see him, none of the adults present could. I remember pointing and saying, "It's out there," and being really frustrated because they couldn't see it. And finally, my dad, determined to put an end to the nonsense, announced that he was going to go out to the yard and get Jay's skateboard from under the tree. We tried to stop him, but he went anyway, and at that time, the Wolfman was still doing his strange gliding walk back and forth. When my dad opened the porch door and hit the steps that led from the porch to the yard, he triggered the motion sensor light, which was on the corner of the porch awning, lighting up the shadowed tree area. Just before this happened, the Wolfman had stepped into that shadow area and disappeared from view in the dark. When the light came on, lighting up the tree area, the Wolfman was just gone. It was as if he had just vanished into thin air, as they say, and we never saw him again. Though we became mildly obsessed with werewolves for a while after that and started hoarding silver in case we needed to make silver bullets. When you are a child, it's pretty amazing what you can consider normal. We were scared at the time that it happened, but it's like afterwards it didn't feel completely real because it was so bizarre. And we sort of made a game out of it. A few weird things happened to us in the woods after that, but nothing that could be considered paranormal beyond doubt. And nothing like seeing the Wolfman. Years passed, but I always wondered about what we saw that night. My cousin and I forgot about it altogether. I asked him about it just for a few months, and he didn't remember it at all. What really brought it back to my memory was the story in Linda Godfrey's Real Wolfman about a girl who saw the hitchhiking werewolf wearing clothes. Before that, I'd never seen a serious report of a canine or lupine humanoid wearing clothes in any publication. I don't often tell anyone about the Wolfman we saw because it sounds so completely crazy. Of course, my parents and Jay's parents never for 1 second believed we saw anything. I don't fully know the history in the land around Pawpaws. I know that there were lots of Catawba Indians in that area before the colonial times, and that there are several strange formations in that part of the country that people claim are Indian mounds, though none of them seem to be officially recognized as such. There have been several Bigfoot flaps in that county as well, and there are black panthers there, and I've seen both black and tan panthers, as has my father and many hunters he knows, but though they're not, in my opinion, anything supernatural, just regular animals. I have no idea to this day what it was that we saw in the backyard, and I find it hard to believe that it was actually a werewolf, but I feel like it was something paranormal. Seeing it caused me to have a lifelong interest in cryptozoology and the Fortean phenomena. I've thought a lot about it, and I sort of feel like John Keel was right when he suggested that there was something out there that messes with us, just because it can. Like maybe something that wanted to be scary and knew that a stereotypical werewolf would frighten some little kids. I even wondered if it could have been someone dressed in a costume playing a prank, but that would explain the weird gliding and natural way it moved, or the way it was able to disappear so fast. Hold on, I gotta kill the network here a sec. 1 second. 1 second.
People virus.
All right, let me get this off.
Include the inability to
Okay, there we go. All right, so that's gone. I'm sorry, it didn't close the show for the network, but oh well. It said, I've even wondered if it could have been someone dressed in a costume playing a prank, but that wouldn't explain the weird gliding and natural way that it moved, or the way it was able to disappear so fast, or the fact that apparently 5 adults couldn't see it, even though 2 kids could. Just thought that this might interest you because of the novelty. It sounds so out there and frankly made up that I doubt anyone would believe it anyway. I've told maybe 4 people my entire life about it, including my ex-husband, who did not believe me. I've never even mentioned it to my current husband because it's just so weird. I would, however, be interested to know if anyone else out there has experienced anything similar, either a werewolf type form dressed in clothing or something that they felt was something pretending to be something that it really was not for whatever reason. I feel strongly that this was what was happening. I appreciate you taking the time to read this, and I've really enjoyed your work. Good luck with your research. From KH. That's really interesting. I don't see any responses of anyone chiming in, even Lon, but I will tell you that I've heard a handful, maybe 3 reports firsthand, talking to people that have witnessed what they said was like a dog man, except it had clothes on. And it's incredibly rare, and it almost sounds like a shapeshifter kind of thing. But in this case, you know, it doesn't sound like it was physically there, at least from the adult's perspective, but it was for the kids, which maybe is a transdimensional or, you know, something to do with their young minds not being totally out of the theta state yet. Maybe they could perceive it more than us adults could. So very interesting, but ladies and gentlemen, that's our show for tonight. I hope you guys have had a good time. I hope you've appreciated this foray into the paranormal portal, and it turned out to be a lot more paranormal than normal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What'd you think, Sheldon? Did you have a good time?
Amazing time, especially with the highlight, in my opinion, was that reading with that app. That was amazing.
I know. It's so wild. I'm just kind of really blown away by that. It's not the function I would have, even guessed for an app like this to come through and be a voice, of comfort and closure for Brenda. That's just amazing. I'm just so thrilled that she called in. And ladies and gentlemen, if you ever get that compelling feeling like I really need to call in, then please do, because maybe there's something you have to share that people need to hear or that will help us all. Don't ever be afraid to call in. The phone lines are my favorite part of the shows, always have been, because it's an opportunity to talk to you. And it's one of the reasons I love doing the podcast so much is I get to, for an hour roughly of every episode, sometimes longer, sometimes less, talk to people about what they've seen and experienced. And it's just, to me, it's incredible. It's like, truly living a dream. But doing these shows is a dream too. So anyway, thank you all so much for being here. Sheldon, thank you for making it tonight.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Anything in closing?
Absolutely. If you guys want to join the Discord community, all of the great links and chats up in there. The link is right at the top of the chat, the discord.gg/paranormal portal link. Otherwise, going through this once again is the home base for the Paranormal Portal, paranormalportal.net, where you can find all the latest podcast episodes. If you even have a story that you want to share with Dad for an interview, you can even schedule it there. The YouTube link, more about Dad, contact list, whatever you need, it's all there.
More about Dad, and then Dad's more Dad. There's Dad stuff everywhere. It's a Danorama over here on paranormalportal.net. All right, folks. Well, that's all we got time for tonight. Remember, Deb Varner joins us tomorrow night to do live readings here on the show. Love to have you call in and take part in that. So remember, if you do, call in early. It's the same number that you're seeing on the screen right now below my face. That's the number you'll call tomorrow night, and just hold the line. Again, if you're going to call internationally and you don't want to be on hold for an hour, call in really early. Like, call before the show even launches, so you're right at the top end of the queue, because I really feel bad. Sometimes I don't realize that there's international calls until I get down the queue, and it's like, oh my God, 45 minutes I've been waiting. And it just, it makes me feel bad, because I know international rates can be horrifying. So if you're calling internationally, please call in early. I will do my best to move you forward if I see it, but I may not see it, because we get a full queue every time Deb comes on. So if that's the case, just please call in early, but hold the line, and we'll get to you as soon as we can, and we'll talk about more of that tomorrow night. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And we'll be back tomorrow night. I'll be back tomorrow night. Sheldon, you'll be back next Friday again?
That's right.
Is that the plan going forward? Okay.
That's
all
the
right.
plan.
You're my Friday show buddy. Okay. All
Friday
right.
Fun day.
Every day. All right, guys. Love you all. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Until then, thank you so much for being a part of the journey. Thank you to Brenda for the call. Thank you to Caleb for the super chat. Thank you to our members. Thank you to everybody who likes and subscribes. And thank you to those that comment if you're not watching live. And thank you to those that share it out on social media and let other people know that the show's happening. So,
and thank you, K-Love.
And thanks, K-Love, for the donation. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, that's it for us. Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night. Until then.
Good night.